Welcome into another exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is talked about enough, guys. I had a little switcheroo this week yet again. It's okay, though. That's what the great thing about being a podcaster. Things change as we go. My guest this week is actually a two-time returning guest. That's right, double time. He's the first two-timer to ever return. But before we get into that this week, we got to pay homage to, of course, the Oracle Talk Radio Network, who we are live on now, their 365 app. By the way, guys, did you know we have an app now? That's right. Oracle Talk Radio Network now has an app that you guys can download in the store. I know it's in the Apple iOS. I'm not sure about the Google one, but it'll connect you directly to our Live 365 radio app and, everything like that, all that great stuff. As well as if you look across the bottom of the screen, you guys will see that I am joined forces with a nonprofit called Podcasters for Prevention. That's right. We are trying to raise awareness for mental health. If you text the code down below and look up my name right there, you'll see it coming across the bottom of the screen, guys. You can find it. If you donate, great, send $1. Hell, I'll take $1. Doesn't matter. We're just trying to, get the message out there that mental health isn't talked about enough, guys. And as always, this week, we are going to take another shout out to one of the sponsors of the show, W Energy Drink, guys. Use my code Pete vs. Anxiety for 10% off at your checkout at wenergy.com. And as usual, before we get started this week, we're going to go ahead and pay a little homage to the other shows here on the Oracle Talk Radio Network, because without the Oracle Talk Radio Network, none of us would be sitting here right now. So we're going to start off with the founders, Tom and Jenny. We're going to start with them two coming up first. So I think we're going to do Tom this week first. We're going to give him first dibs this week. Jenny, I'm going to go with you second, doll. So here we go.
The Chasing Prophecy radio show, where we discuss everything and anything beyond the scope of normal. Hosted by Jenny Nicasio and Tom Conway, Chasing Prophecy is your premier destination for all things paranormal. Tune in Thursdays at 8 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. In the Know with Jenny Nicasio, your home for pop culture and trending topics from all over the United States. All with commentary from your favorite host, Jenny Nicasio. Tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Mystic Whispers podcast, hosted by the psychic seer herself, Nicole Gaspard. Each week, Nicole shares her experiences and views, as well as interviews guests. Tune in Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Nerd Informer podcast, hosted by Ian Harrelling and Tyler Johnson. An informative look at the world around us and expert discussions on some of the world's greatest mysteries. Tune in Wednesdays at 7 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. Bookish Podcast, hosted by Emma Saylor, is a unique look at all things literature and is your radio book club. Read along as Emma takes us through discussions of her books of the month, and you can chime in and give your feedback as well. Tune in Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Richard. And together, we are the Stay Off My Lawn Show and Podcast.
And together we tackle the important political issues from the week.
We'll also have smart and maybe not so smart audio clips from our elected officials.
And have way too much fun in the process.
So tune in to Stay Off My Lawn every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Right here on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Everybody, welcome in my guest this week, the Mr. Real 75 from TikTok, Shaun.
Hi, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Pete, thanks for helping me back yet again.
Exactly. Like I said, guys, Shaun is a two-time returning guest. You all may remember him from my other podcast, Pete's Corner Store. We did a couple episodes actually together. He did the very Pride edition, and he also jumped in on the men's mental health edition of Pete's Corner Store. But anyway, Shaun, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
So I am 30 years old. I am a beginning creator because I've always been told that, you're never too old to start something new. So like my focus on TikTok right now is to create a safe space for people with mental health, people that, are always outcasted because of their the background, disabilities that they have, or just the mental thing they got going on. So like whenever you see me live, and this over here. If you ever see Mr. Real 75, all you gotta do is just pop in and hang out because every Saturday I do music nights. Um, every once in a while we do
You do a lot of things, actually, man. It was
oh
like
yeah
every time. Sean actually,
I
by the way, was supposed to be here on the 30th, but I decided to ask him to come a little sooner. We had a little program switch up, but it's not a big deal. He was thinking about starting a podcast. So everybody, we need to encourage him to start that podcast.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things we talked about before. Is like one of those ADHD things where it's like, oh, it's like a good idea, good idea, good idea. Then it's like, then my mind goes poof over here, poof over here. It's like, but no, like that is definitely something I would definitely want to incorporate into my life because right now I am trying to get onto disability because my mental health is so bad. Like when I go to work, I get very social anxiety. Like it's funny when I'm on this app, like I'm wide open, but in the actual public, I'm very closed off, very very shut down on myself.
Yeah, I get that though, but it's different when you're in person with people versus
Oh yeah,
meeting them online. You know what I mean? It's a whole nother experience. I mean, you're still technically talking to those people, but they're not physically here. So if you feel overwhelmed, you're like, yeah, give me a second. You can walk off camera and come back and be like, all right, I'm good
right,
now.
exactly. But yeah, I'm definitely one for mental health because like I've been dealing with it for most of my life. It's like when in doubt, if you need someone to talk to, you got to have that one person you could just talk to. Like
Yeah.
I've had people had mental breakdowns and I pushed because they're sitting in front of the door and I got to push myself in there and they go, oh, I don't want to hear your mouth. And I'm like, okay. So I literally just turn the light off and just sit down,
Yeah.
just so they have that closure of okay, I'm alone, but there's someone here I could talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that completely. So
So
why don't you tell us your journey of mental health, my friend? Give a rundown of everything you deal with right now.
all right, so my current diagnosis right now is anxiety, depression, um, social anxiety, PTSD, and ADD, and I'm just gonna keep it at ADD because I really don't have the hyper anymore. It's just more of the attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
So the first two, the ADHD and ADD, came back when I was a kid. I was like 4 or 5 years old. My mom got me diagnosed, and that all came about as I got older. Because like I've been through some stuff growing up, watching my mom get physically and verbally abused and everything, which caused a lot of the anxiety growing
Yeah.
up because it was like my mom got into those relationships and I mean, this was the most physical abuse. The rest of them were like more verbal. But it was always like every time she got with somebody else, she would pick us up and move to where they're at, just to work out, just to move again 6 months to a year later. So all my life, I've been, picked up a mood, picked up a mood, picked up a mood. I basically got forced into the gypsy lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just gonna say good analogy for that one too, because I was thinking about that. I was like, damn. Or army brats a lot of times too. That's how a lot of army brats are. They move around a lot. I know when we were kids, my dad moved us around a lot too because of his job and everything like that. So I could feel that 100%, man. I was never in a place for too long. And then when my parents divorced, I stayed with him because, well, everybody knows my mom dropped me off on his pen at his doorstep. So I still hold grudges to this day to her.
Right.
And
So
then,
yeah, life has definitely been, a roller coaster for me. Like, well, we'll talk about it on a whole nother thing. But I did go to prison for 7.5 years, which was again caused a whole nother, anxiety, depression, major social anxiety, PTSD, all that was that was a major change because getting locked up young, spending pretty much spending most of that time when I'm supposed to be out here, learning life and everything. I'm locked in a 6x8, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, everything we go through in life actually helps us, build who we are today.
I like that. I like that. That makes sense. So you think about it, all your life experiences bring you to this moment. And one of my guests I had before that I was doing a pre-recorded session with, Miss Sandra. She works with children on that age, and she said that children then tend to mimic the things they see. So a lot of times, that's a lot of where the behaviors and things will come from and stuff like that too. But
Exactly.
anyways, real quick before Sean gets
Absolutely.
started again, guys, that whole story is going to be a Patreon exclusive episode. Me and him have already discussed it. I will give you the details as soon as I know when we plan it. When I get all the Patreon details and everything like that, me and Mr. Real are going to sit down and talk about it. It's going to be a closed private session. Um, I know that I can probably invite certain people if he wants certain people there to be for that conversation. It's a whole other, but it will be a closed Patreon conversation. But I'll have all those details as soon as I get them. Anyways, go ahead, bud.
Um, no, like I definitely appreciate the opportunity to, just get the mental health out there because even though it's advertised everywhere, mental health, mental health, mental health, but it doesn't feel like it's being pushed enough.
Yeah, it
Like,
feels like the conversation ends after the ads go. It's like, people make these clickbait videos, but then if you go look at their stuff after that, you don't see a lot of people really pushing for the agenda for it to be talked about enough. And that's why I like Bree, yourself. There's a couple other ladies too. There's a girl that's gonna be on here on the fourth. She's gonna talk from the other side of it. The person that's, the loved one of someone that has it, and you'll like her. She's very powerful with her voice, kind of thing. And I think that's a lot of times too. It gets muddled. Is the other side of the story? Okay, so yeah, you have mental health, but the what about the loved ones? And I was trying to do that angle actually with my first guest I ever pre-recorded with, but it never connected yet. I'm still trying to get him to come on. But I wanted to show the aspects of what it's like for the loved ones, what they have to deal from their point of view, what's going on. Like, well, no, it's your point of view is, what I'm saying, but what is what the other person seeing in the conversation? And my guest on the fourth is actually going to argue that point, which makes perfect sense, though. I mean, because a lot of times, we miss that along the way.
and just to piggyback off what you said, like I go to therapy sometimes once or twice a week.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing that I learned almost 2 years ago. If you take a very mirror like pond, say you are a rock and you whip that rock as far as you can I know that pond, every ripple until that ripple gets to you on the shoreline is every person that you affected in life.
Yeah. That's pretty
Like
good.
some people
That's
do.
pretty good too. That's very
Absolutely,
good.
because people think about it, like it comes down to, people think, okay, you affected yourself and your family. No, 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 no. You affected everybody else around you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's very true. And I don't think a lot of us think of it that way too. I know we all talk about, our own struggles, but what about the people that have to deal with those struggles, and stuff like that. And I think what was it? I can't think of the music video. My wife shows me it shows all the time. I can't think of the song. I think it's Chris Stapleton, Fire Away. I think that's the song called.
Oh,
I'm trying
that's
to
a
think about it in
very
my head.
good
You know what I'm talking.
song.
You know what I'm saying though? But if you
Yeah.
watch the video, you see the aspects of what she's dealing with when he's having all the mental breakdowns. Like you see his aspect, but then you see the emotion she's dealing with and everything, all the other crazy stuff like that that's going on as he's struggling with his PTSD and having his sessions and where he has his little moments where he just has those moments where he goes completely blank and stuff like that. And it's crazy. But I mean, I do think that does get kind of muddled a little bit. And like I said, she was arguing that point after she was watching one of our episodes.
You know, not to change the topic too far,
Oh my
but
god.
I've heard many people, people get on me all the time because you brought it to my attention. I looked it up and it was 100% spot on back when we did our men's mental health awareness and our first, our gay episode, our LGBTQ episode. That a lot of people are like, don't you realize that June is also men's mental health awareness? I'm like,
Right.
for the longest time, I didn't even know that was a thing because us
Exactly.
men, we were brought up to, take care of the bills, take care of the house, provide, 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 provide. Like, there's an analogy I saw on TikTok. It was very powerful. Actually, put tears in my eyes. Have you ever noticed that majority of men have a workout bench somewhere in the house, or
Yeah,
or out in the garage, and they're like, because your dad needs that one space that he can go and actually cry.
yeah.
Your dad don't want to show the weakness in front of you.
Well, yeah, like you said, it's because that's the way we're pre-programmed to think about things, and it's just how it was. I mean, but we got to understand though, when we look at the different mindsets, it was that at that time, it's a whole new mindset. They had wars going on back then and things like that, and these guys these days have no idea all the stuff they you have to deal with. Anybody wants a reference, go watch my first episode ever of the show with Teddy Colgate. He was talking about what it was like, and he had you could see the emotion of the man's face. Like he literally starts crying on the camera. And I'm like, guys, I want you to see the emotion. This man is telling you a story of what he had experienced firsthand. He said his Humvee got blown up, flipped over, and then he had to crawl out. Like it's like a Call of Duty moment. Like you're seeing these games where you're watching all of them crawling out and everything. This man lived the experience. He was there. And I think he said he was fairly young too, if I remember right. When me and him had that conversation, he was like in his like 20s or 30s. He was still really young when he went over there because he eventually, when he took command, he took his command spot. He had gone over there and he had to stay strong for his guys. But he said that the guy that was trying to wake him up had talked to him like 14 or 15 times, could ask him, "Hey man, are you okay? Are you okay?" And he was knocked out cold. And and it was just like he had a shell shock. I guess the reference would be a shell shock, basically. He was kind of shell shocked a little bit, and he was out there army crawling out of this, and he's describing this to me, and I'm just hanging on the edge of my seat, like, oh God. And it was crazy
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he had to give on the persona that he was okay because he's in charge of these guys, and he's like, well, I got to be ready, I got to be strong for these guys, and I get his point of view. And then when he came back is when it really got interesting because he was like, well, you know, uh, he's like, the government was telling him that he's okay, but he's not. He's like, I'm not. And he's the one that advocated for his own help because he was like, hey, man, something's not right here. Like, there's these things happening. I'm not feeling okay. You're telling me I'm all right, but I'm not. And he's like, did you look at the
Right.
first test? And just like go right, several seconds to your point is that people don't look at it enough. Like you did. I mental mental health, but nobody even knew that was the month. Like all these months have different meanings. And it's like, in school, they teach us some of these things. They don't talk about suicide prevention. Oh, this month's suicide prevention. Well, why not? Why not educate these kids now about the real things about it so they understand, hey, if you're having these problems, let's find some help. Like talk to somebody, let somebody know. Like it's okay to let people know if you're having a problem. Let's address it now versus let it get worse and then cause a lot of problems and the ripple effect, like you were saying, with when you throw the stone and it comes back and causing all these problems in between there. We could end the
Yep.
cycle now, but but that's why I joined forces with podcast prevention. I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff yet. Um, they're doing that. That's what they're basically doing. They're basically trying to like asking for donations, but the real point is the guy I met with, the Richardo. He said he lost his brother's suicide and everything like that, and that's what happened. And he's like, yeah, well, that's the whole reason I started this thing. And him and then another guy will be on here in a couple weeks. Keegan brought the whole thing to me. Was like, yeah, he was talking about starting a nonprofit, and Rich is like, why wait? I'll do it right now. That's what I was planning on doing anyway. So that's how I found out about that. So there's not a lot of people that knew about it. I think me and him are still the only two people on there right now. I have our only two teams, but we're the only two that knew about it because it's a brand new nonprofit that just started up. And I actually saw it and talked to this guy, and we were talking about it, and he was real cool guy. Same thoughts I have about everything and everything like that. And eventually, he said there'll be like paid speaking opportunities coming up eventually down the road is what they're trying to do. That way you can go out and talk to people and they'll compensate people for doing different things. Or say you have a goal for like, hey, I need a new mic. He's like, well, if we see you're doing enough, he's like, I'll come help you. I'll send you the new mic. You don't even got to wait to buy it. I'll buy it for you and send it to you because you're helping us out, spread our message that much. So, but I think you had a really good point there, though.
Send me their link and I'll post them on my TikTok.
Yeah, I'll definitely send it to you for sure. I'll send you my link so you know. And if you want to join my team, you can join my team. There's spots on the team. So anyway, if anybody wants to join my team, you can join my team on there. I'll have a video posted on. I know it's on my Instagram. I think I posted on TikTok as well, though. But here's a way to join the team if you want to join in and join the cause. So yeah.
I seen a video on TikTok. It was very powerful. He did almost 30 years in the war. And when he first came home, like he graduated at 17 years old, did 2 years basic, boot camp, basic training. Actually got
Mhm.
deployed and everything. Came back, and then he told the judge in tears. He goes, "How can you consider me a man enough to go to war when I'm still a child? You put a gun in my hand to go, unalive people over there." This was during Desert Storm era.
Oh, I believe it.
And he was like, but he goes, but I come home and I go, because I'm smoking, while I'm in the army. I'm drinking while I'm in the army, even though I'm only like 17, 18 years old. But I come home, I'm a man now.
Yeah.
I've done things, seen things, whatever.
Yeah,
But I
I've
go to
unalived
the
somebody, how much more
and
of a
it's like
man
I
do you
go
want to
to the
be?
store. I go to the store to buy a pack of cigarettes, but you're saying I'm still a child.
Yeah, I get that.
How does that, like, I mean, I'm not, I get it, there's certain ages for certain things, but it's like you just put a gun in a 17-year-old's hand, told him to go fight for his country, and then you want to come home and belittle him and say that he's still a child.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, isn't it? It's kind of it's double standards. I think there could be some exception to the rule, like if you go through that situation, it's different. But I mean, he's got a good point though. I mean, think about it. You just gave this man a gun to unalive somebody. In a book I reference a lot, it's called Voices of Vietnam. These are actual letters people wrote, and the guy was talking about how he had to execute a kid of no older than 16, and he was just like, he was talking about the description of the whole thing, man, and it was rough to listen to. It's hard to read because you're reading this, and this is someone's actual words. He's like, I had to bust him in the head with the gun and the butt of the gun, and then he started making a high pitched whistling noise, and like you could feel the emotion of this guy telling you this story, and he's like, yeah, I had him whistling and I had to make a decision. It was me or him at that time. And I was like, yeah, that's the problem, though. He's probably no much older than he was. And he's got to make these decisions. And you're sending him over to a war in the middle of wherever for whatever reason, which was none of our business, honestly, my opinion. But that's all in the ball game.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's one of those, a lot of people argue that we shouldn't even been there, but it was just like the mental state these guys came back from is just like crazy. Or like think World War II with Agent Orange. Holy crap, that nerve gas they had and all that kind of all that stuff they experienced is just
They dro-
crazy.
they dropped that in Vietnam too,
What I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm
because
point is, I'm saying? Like,
my
all this is
grandfather
crazy.
is now in his mid 70s, and now he's starting to start. Even though he's denying it, but I think he's a little delulu right now. But this is age. But we're starting to think that the Agent Orange, because he was in in that zone when it dropped,
Yeah,
and now he's having major heart problems, major diabetes problems, and he's not even that big either. He
yeah.
you know like he has to go to Cleveland here in a few weeks because he's about to get his heart catheterized
Mm.
because he already has 7 stents in his heart already.
Oh God, that's
And
crazy.
so, and even though he's trying to be the man, that he was raised to be,
Yeah, well, he's military
he
too. Got to remember, so he had a whole nother level of training. He was taught discipline and everything else, and I'm sure it's different too. Because I know I had my dad had told me I had a cousin that was actually in the World War II, and he was driving the tank across the German lines. He was the tank driver for Eisenhower. He was right there, and he's like, yeah, he just told me to keep driving. I was like, imagine someone telling you that you're driving a tank. There's a bunch of tanks in front of you, and he's like, just keep punching the thing. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Like the mindset of that man, it's just crazy because like these are firsthand encounters that people are dealing with. My wife's grandfather, he was in the Navy, and his actual ship was listed in Time magazine, everything like that, which I thought was so cool. And she showed it to me. I was like, dude, this is so cool. Like, he'd been in Time magazine. It wasn't like he was trying to do it just for fun. He's doing it because he was there. You know what I mean? And it's like he's seen some crazy shit. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. I think he would have been an amazing person to talk to too. But I talk to all these
right.
military vets that come in and stuff like that and ask them questions about stuff. And some of these guys' stories are just insane. Like they tell you
Yeah,
the
he
craziest things, and the psychological impact that people deal with is it's just hard. It's crazy, man. Like once you see something like that, it affects you. Like and you may
yeah.
not realize it now, but later on, it's gonna get you. And
It's like I'm 30 years old now, and I still ask questions about Vietnam, for my own, things.
There's nothing
and
wrong being curious, honestly, man. There's nothing wrong asking questions, like, you know.
he asked me he says all the time, he's like, "I'll tell you when you get older."
Yeah, he's
I'm
like,
like, I'm
"Oh,
already 30
Grandpa,
years
I'm 30.
old.
How much older do you want me to be, man? Like, how
But
much
I
older do
get
you
it.
want me to be?"
And then I finally learned to stop asking because there's, it was a point in his life where he's done things, seen things, and I'm pretty sure Vietnam time.
Just let's think of the aspect of this too, man. Think about the people that are POWs, though, bro. Could you imagine that? Like the things they used to do to people, the people that were tortured. Like they talk about like how we were torturing terrorists and things like that, doing waterboarding them and stuff. Like, I mean, that's a different scenario to me, honestly. It's like, um, like these people just blew up our towers and killed all of our people. We gonna do what we need to do to get the information at this point. Now, I could see an
Absolutely.
extent to it, but at that point, it's like I don't think we should argue that point with oh, they shouldn't have done it. No, no, they should have done that. You just killed all these innocent people that had nothing to do with anything. You're mad at us for something or whatever, and you took it out on innocent people, just like these bombings over there, where they're bombing each other over there. You know, us getting in the middle of Russia's and Ukraine's thing. It's like I understand with all due respect, but that ain't my problem to worry about over there. My problem's here, what I'm dealing with. And a lot of times, and it's just crazy, man. Like the mental health aspects, a lot of this stuff. It's like people are seeing these things. Like I had a Columbine shooter survivor come on and tell me she was about maybe 6 feet away from the person. She's buried under chairs, bro, and I'm gripping to the seat of the chairs. I'm listening to her tell this story. It's a firsthand encounter, so I'm like, and it's like it's another one of those moments, man. You're like hanging in your mind, you're thinking about it, and I'm sitting there just thinking about it because I recorded this on the audio side. And I'm sitting in a dark room. Don't ask. I had to make a last minute change because my internet was messing up. And everybody looks at me weird when I tell them, man. I'm like in a dark room listening to this thing, man, and she's telling me this story. So I'm hyper focusing on what she's saying, and she's laying there, and I'm feeling like I'm laying there too. She's like, I'm under the chairs. I got these chairs buried on me, and I'm like, oh God, they're gonna look at you. And she's like, I can see the whites of his eyes, they're glazed over, and I'm just like, it's like it was crazy. I may even get her to come on here and talk about it, dude. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to have her come back on and see though. I do have 2 other returning guests coming back though. But anyways, yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, dude, this thing's been crazy since I started this whole thing, man. Like when we last talked, when we did our last episode a while back, man, it's been a roller coaster of emotions here, man. And then the one with Dr. Tim, I sent him the link too, by the way, because I wanted him to come on because he was so cool to talk to too. But he was
Yeah,
like,
that was cool.
Dr. Tim was amazing to talk to. So, but yeah, man, that's crazy though. You know what I'm saying? Like we think about it, I just don't think it gets talked about enough. And like ever since I started this, dude, I've been running into more people that are pushing for it. Like Bree, yourself, Kelly was one of them as well. And she went 24 hours. That poor girl went 24 hours. Shout out to Kelly, by the way, girl. 24 hours. I don't think I could do it. She did a 24-hour stream, man. I kept checking, we were checking in on her every so often to see how she was doing. And she was last hour, dude, she was struggling. But her brother and sister, the boyfriend and the sister were pushing her through it though, because she had a reason. She was sticking hard to this message. Everybody's like, "Oh, you should stop. Oh, you should stop." I mean, but she was convicted. She's like, "I'm going for it, man. I'm doing this. I already said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And I'll go. All shouts out go to her. I will definitely tag her in this and put her in the section below, man. She's just crazy, girl. You crazy? I couldn't do it. Imagine that 24 hours of just ugh.
I haven't done a 24-hour live, and
I'd be
not
after
just
doing
live,
24-hour live, man. I don't know what I'd
not
do
just
for
a
24
live, but
hours.
I mean, knowing me, I probably just keep that music going and just play my
Right.
Xbox like I normally do. Just keep it going.
Well, I thought about doing that for some bonus content for the Patreon, like play along. We can play like Fortnite or whatever together, or whatever, or watch some anime or watch some movies, and we all just talk about it. Because I can have up to 10 people in here at a time. So I'm still trying to figure all that details out. So if you got any ideas for any bonus content things you'd like to see, or anybody watching this, if you got any ideas, any bonus content you would like to see, because the Patreon I know is going to start at $1 to join for now, but it's me and a couple other shows. I know it's me. Let me look at the other names, the other ones I'm trying to remember. I believe he said it was the Nerd Informers, which I have yet to check theirs out. I'm meaning to. Chasing Prophecy, which is Tom, and I believe Jenny's is in the know. I believe that because I know Tom and Jenny do Chasing Prophecy together and stuff like that. And those are the guys that started this whole thing. I know they were talking about they're all together in one. I was like, yeah, let me jump in. I got a couple ideas for them. I'm actually going to record an episode later today for Patreon. I'm thinking about going live too, but I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of in between it. but it's gonna be with the like TikTok band called the Realists. Oh no, the Theorists. I'm sorry. What the hell am I talking about? The Theorists. I'm all over the place, man. It's been a crazy morning. By the way, everybody, this is brought. Gotta have my C4 this morning. Okay, I gotta be awake. This caffeine is not helping this morning for me. Shit. So, but okay. So you say you go to therapy at least once or twice a week. Is it depend on how you're feeling that week if you go twice?
So right now, so once a week is definitely mandatory.
Yeah, mine's
Um,
once a week too right now. And I know they
so
gauge. Do they gauge yours like mine? Because they send me this sheet. Well, I do televisits, so mine will send me out a little sheet ahead of time. I felt this form, and then based on that, she can tell if the numbers are off, and she can already tell already when she's talking to me. She can tell when something's off and stuff like that.
all right, so every Thursday is a group setting. So there's 10 of us in there currently. As of right now, we had up to 20 people. But after a while, like once you start it, you're pretty much on a committed thing, you know, all the way through. So
Yeah,
every Thursday from 4 to 6, I have I go to group. My every other Wednesday I go to a one-on-one
yeah,
where it's more of a psychologist thing where you just sit back, you talk to, you basically learn different things. Like the biggest thing I had to work on, was self gratification.
yeah.
You know, like like my biggest addiction I've ever dealt with, and I beat, yay, but
Hey,
was my gambling addiction. My gambling addiction was so bad where I used to get paid on a Friday. You know those little slot machines you see in the stores.
yeah,
Just go in there and spend my whole paycheck on it, expecting to win over $2,000.
yeah.
My biggest thing I ever won was 380, but it was the adrenaline of getting of the possibility of winning. So like we work on like a slew of things, for like right now we're talking about communication skills.
Is it like a
Last
group setting basically? You said there's like
Oh
10
yeah,
people in there.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, makes
So
sense.
so yeah, like it gets very powerful, especially when someone like they come in and we're like, bro, is you all right? Yeah, all right. He's like, no, you're like, because I want to talk to you guys about something, and then he breaks down um, it's really powerful because to see a man, that comes in with the hard shell on, it's like I don't want to talk. I'm just gonna sit here. I
Well,
know I
sometimes
signed up
people
for
just want to
this,
listen.
so
That makes sense.
finally he opens up, and then like you see this big burly man, like just tears, soaking his shirt. It's like, get it, man, let it all out. Like it's a very powerful thing.
It's funny you say that too, because I've been looking into star sign stuff. My wife and I were talking about this last night. She's like, look up Cancer. And I'm looking at them, watching these videos. And you know what? Like, for the longest time, I don't really look at a lot of this stuff. And she's been teaching me little by little. And she's done tarot card readings for me. And a lot of that shit, dude, like, I didn't even realize. Like, a lot of times I thought it was novelty for the longest time until she started educating me on a lot of this stuff, man. Like, when we were dating, she did a tarot card reading, dude. I'm going to tell you right now, bro. It was like, whoa. And when I start looking at the star sign stuff, I noticed that a lot of the traits they list are a lot of things I do now, and it makes a lot of sense now because she's Scorpio and I'm Cancer, so like we were looking at these TikToks last night of different videos of different things, and it's crazy how much you align with like your personality traits line up with them. And before I didn't think anything of it, I didn't know anything about it. She's huge in it though, and she's teaching me as I go, and then the whole she does the crystal thing, and I've been getting into it with her. I like tiger's eyes, like one of the ones I really resonate with. So like she bought me a tiger's eye, and I carried it everywhere I go. And everybody like, what's that? Oh, it's just something said something about me. And I have this thing where I grow attached to things that people buy, give me, and I get really like I got a whole case over to my left of just stuff I get, and then she'll get me different things here and there. These little small gifts, like I have a knife she bought me, and I know it's just a knife, but I hold it, I treasure it, like you know what I mean. Like she bought it for me and things
Yeah,
like that. And I hold
absolutely.
on to it, man. Like I hold on to stuff forever. Like her uncle, I met him a few
You
times,
order
and he
you.
uh
No
he gave me
kidding.
a he gave me a knife too, and it's my new obsession with knives now. Like I just love it. It's great. And it's just, and it's things that, like that are just kind of like, I had a real bad hoarding phase too, but we won't talk about that. It's a problem. It was bad, man. Like 300 plus of those pop figures. I think we need to have a talk about it. It's like, hey, champ, we need to talk about it kind of conversation. And it was a lot of that stuff I didn't realize I was doing. And I know Buzz and I had talked before. I was doing something one time, and my ex usually caused a lot of these problems. And this is when the girls were living with me. She'd come over to see the girls, and I'd be on the separate part of the apartment away from her because I'm like, I don't want to see her. Because every time I see her, she makes anxiety go to the roof because I have flashbacks of all the things that dealt with her. And like one time there was an incident specifically, I was doing something, I was talking to Buzz and I were just having a conversation. And she said, all of a sudden for 20 minutes, you blanked out completely. And I don't even remember this. Now, keep in mind that, guys, anybody at home watching this, I didn't realize this was happening. She saw this and I didn't see it. But to me, it was just like, I was just doing my whatever, I didn't think about it. But she's like, yeah, you started stuttering. You started repeating things. She's like, you were just totally tripping out, dude. Are you good? Are you okay? And I was like, I didn't notice it until she started asking me that after she had left the room. And it was just like, it was hard, man. It was just like, ugh, because I couldn't stand to be around her. I understand she's the kid's mom and I have to deal with her for now, but it's already enough headaches as it is with her. It's just like a constant mental attack every time she comes over or whatever. But she doesn't come over now because God forbid she don't want to be in the same room as my wife. My wife would probably end up fighting her, honestly, which is okay.
No, it's not because that would probably increase all your mental health even worse.
Maybe for a little bit, but I'd probably get the pure enjoyment of just watching her hit some money. It's okay. It's all right. Anyways, it's something I'm working through. I'm like, it's rightfully so, but it's hard too now that I'm married, and then she has a baby with her ex, which we all get along now, but it was rough in the beginning, also when you bring kids into situations like that. And that's the reason why I was trying to get help too, is because the little one and I get along so well. She'll call me dad here and there, and it doesn't faze me. At first, it kind of like, it's like, I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, but I mean, I think her brother put it to me best. It's like, hey, you guys are married now. So she's going to end up calling you dad eventually because that's just how she sees you. And I was like, okay, I just want her to know her real dad is there. That like, I am not trying to replace this man in any way possible. He's a great dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
They get along real well. And you could see, he's learning as he goes kind of thing, and I try to help him out too. Like, I don't know if he'd ever take my advice, but I mean, I've been there. I know what it's like, man. He's only raising one. I raised three. It was hard, especially when they hit the teenage years. Oh God. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh God. It's like you want to pull what hair out I have. I don't even have hair, but I want to pull it out. Like it was like I got gray in the beard. You can't really see it, but it's gray all up in here. I told them it's all because of you guys. But and now me and them don't even have a relationship at all because their mom does like the whole she gets on the other side and starts manipulating people kind of thing, and that's just how she is. Her mom's always been like that. And will she ever change? I don't know. But I've also been dealing with my therapy stuff too. My therapist was telling me my homework assignment is like, I don't know if I ever could forgive my mom. I'll be honest with y'all right now. She said to basically work on a letter to my mom, like write a letter and don't send it to her, but burn it. Because she said that way it'll make you feel like you released everything. And I'm like, it's going to be the hardest letter I ever write. I'm going to tell y'all right now, it's going to be a rough ride. And she said, it's not something you have to do right away, but work on it little by little. And I'm like, yeah. Because, I have about 29 years of just things I want to say to her about, everything like that day. And it haunts me every day, I think. And I think it's a lot of times that's the source of my rage issues I have. Which my rage issues haven't been that bad recently. Now that I'm in therapy and I'm talking to somebody about the stuff, I feel like it's gotten better. But there was a moment where it just caused a lot of problems where I just went off. And my poor wife, she should have just socked me in the face as hard as she could that day. I promise you. Let me tell you, if you guys want to know what a sage-like woman is, she was that day. She just sat there and said, okay. And she literally said nothing. And I was like, oh, and I think after that happened is when it really just hit me that I need to get some help, man. Like, this is a problem. It's a problem I didn't see, and it's been a problem for a long time, and I got to apologize about it to a lot of people. So it'll be a lot of letter writing being done. So if you get a letter from me, then you'll know what it's about.
Can I say one thing, Pete, to help you out with on your journey?
Go for it, brother.
So, the last phase that we worked on was actually about forgiveness, and I'm still working on it. It's definitely one of those work in progresses.
Right.
So when people think about forgiveness, the first thing we always think about is that we have to look at you and say, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I forgive you. That's actually not the case.
Yeah.
And it's like in the psychological and therapy standpoint, it's not about forgiving them per se.
Yeah.
It's about forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
Like you got to talk to yourself, be one on one with yourself and be like, okay, where was I at mentally during this time when this happened? What can I do to forgive myself in this situation?
Yeah.
At first we were all like, chance that don't make no sense.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
because it's like I didn't cause this. I didn't make them do this, but actually, in a way, our communication skills, which now we're working on today.
Yeah.
Not today, but this new
Yeah. No,
phase,
you're
this
good.
communication
Yeah.
is we have to be able to communicate with ourselves more efficiently than everybody else because
Yeah.
like once we figure out how to communicate, like our tone of voice, our body language, our the way we perceive things, the way we take things, that can also trigger somebody else.
Yeah. No, I get that because my wife and I have conversations like that too, and my tone of voice a lot of times it's one of those things I need to work on too. And then she's very hard. Listen, when I talk to her, I'm better get ready for a harsh response because she's just straight to the point, and and I love her for that. She's just straight to the point though, man. She will hit you where it hurts, but it's not intentional. It's because you asked for her opinion. She's going to tell you what my opinion. I'll tell you my opinion. And a lot of times when I make decisions, she's the person I talk to about everything. Like, hey, babe, what do you think of this? And the minute she says something, it's like, that's it. It's like God spoke, and that's it. God spoke to me. And that's it. That's what she said. And I know people are just like, oh, well, you let her run your life. No, it's not like that. It's I ask her a question, and if I know if I'm asking her, it's because, hey, I want your honest opinion. And she'll look at me and still ask me that sometimes, like, hey, are you sure? I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I want your straightforward opinion. And she'll tell me, and I'm like, okay, cool, conversation over, done. And I'll cut her off
Right.
sometimes, like, hey man, conversation's over. You've already made the point, nothing else to discuss. And a lot of times that's how a lot of decisions I make are too. I'll ask her if I'm not sure. I have the slightest inkling doubt. I go, hey babe, let me ask you a question, and it'll be give it to me rough, and she'll just give it to you rough. But that's just how she is.
Right.
But she's like I said, she's been riding through this whole process too, and she's thought about coming and doing an episode with me, and I think if we did it, it'd probably be a closed session too, because I don't know what is going to get said in that conversation, because I know with YouTube certain things get flagged and stuff like that. But that's, like I said, like a bonus content type thing or something like that, or I've recorded for herself just to see what she thinks. And I told her, you can watch it back and decide if you wanted to post it or you want to delete it. I mean, and it's rough, man. Like she deals with a lot of stuff too, and we get through this thing together, and I don't think like I'd make it this far without her at this point, dude. She really is like the rock. She's my rock right now, man. Like a lot of times she deals with a lot of shit that a lot of people don't see that go on in the back scene and things like that too. And she has her moments too, but I mean, it's like you got to be there for everybody. It's not easy, and then she deals with certain things too, and she has PTSD and stuff like that too, and it's just rough, man. And it's not an easy ride. I'll tell you honestly, being on both sides of the picture, it's kind of tough.
That's one thing. That another thing we were taught, no matter what you're going through, what kind of addiction that you have, no matter what kind of downsides that you have in your life or whatnot, they say we like to call a relapse. It's kind of like a relapse prevention plan. Like if you have like really bad outburst, or like certain addictions that you have that you're going back down the. Okay, I forgot. Keep forgetting the camera backwards this way. but but
Told you that
no.
thing will get you.
but but it's good. It's really good to have a sponsor.
Yeah,
Even multiple sponsors. There we go. I got it right that time. Multiple sponsors. Because at least if you can't talk to this person per se, you can go talk to person B. So
yeah,
at least you got always those people that that can keep pulling you
yeah.
back in, pulling you back
What
in.
do
Like,
they refer to as? They refer to as like a safety list, like a list of
yep,
people you can call if you need to.
yep,
They know if I'm calling them at 2 in the morning, because that's usually when I work anyways. I'm up all night. So like if I'm calling them, it's usually because that's a serious thing. Like I need you. If I'm calling you at 2 in the morning, it's different. For her, it's like I'd call her last. Usually I know it sounds weird, but because she sleeps in the middle of the night. So sometimes if she's sleeping, I want to try and let her sleep. And I'll call my best friend Lewis, who lives in California, and he knows if I'm calling him at that early in the morning, he knows something's up. But like I said, I do call my wife here and there too. But if I know she's up, I try not to wake her up when she sleeps because I know sometimes she has trouble sleeping. So I like
Right.
to try and let her sleep unless I absolutely need her. Then I'll blow her shit up. And then at that point, it's just like, it's something serious at that point. But I've been working on different ways to let her know, hey, listen, because I've got her addicted to Xbox, by the way. She's addicted to Overwatch too. Sorry. But
Way to go. No, I'm kidding.
listen, so she wears my headset that Lewis had bought me, which I mean, I don't ever hardly use it because I'm hardly ever playing it during the day most of the time. So she loves it. It's great because it cancels out all the noise around you. You can't hear anything around you. You're immersed. And it's great for her because she can turn music on in her headset and just sing her heart out and whatever else. And she likes it. I think she likes it, honestly, because she uses it a lot more than I do, which is funny because she's addicted to playing Overwatch too. But I'll message her, like I'll text her and stuff, and I'll say certain things to her in her Xbox chat thing. I'll send her a message and say, hey, if I need her to look at her text and I know she's playing, because she's not going to hear that phone. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, like, people always call me lazy because I'm always playing Xbox. No, this area here where I'm sitting right now, this is my safe zone. This is my area. Like, this is where I de-stress. Like, yes, I get into Call of Duty. I get into
Are you getting Black Ops 6,
GTA.
by the way?
I do not. I didn't have the money for it.
Me either. I don't know if I'm going to get her now. I'm debating. I've been playing Space Marine too, but anyways.
So this video game thing is my safe zone. It's
I
like
get that.
I have my other games like I play to unwind. Like where I call my safe zone. Like I play Forza. I got back into playing Sims. Don't know why. It's just a very very relaxing game.
I think Sims is underrated, honestly. I'm thinking about seeing if I have another laptop and see if I can set it up for my wife to play. I think she played Sims a lot. I think that's when she said she played a lot was The Sims. And they had all those different expansions. Like, think about it. DLCs didn't exist at this time when The Sims was out. You had all these different expansion packs and things like that. And
There's like
Diablo had
25, 30 expansions for Sims now.
Yeah, think about that. 25 or 30. Okay. And so what did you pay an average for? About 30, $40 for each one. And they've made it stimulating people's life. Like SimCity's been there. What was the big one we played? We played what is it? Theme Park was a big one when we were kids.
You're thinking about Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That one too, but there was another one that was early on for us older guys. That was Theme Park, was for like Sega Genesis and things like that. And the little idea was just building a theme park and keeping it going. Like you had to hire all the workers. First off, don't judge me, okay? It's just like Roller Coaster Tycoon, okay? We started somewhere, sir, okay? SimCity was just a simulation, damn it, okay?
That's all it was.
I played a lot of video games, and those are usually my comfort zone too. And then I watch like movies a lot too. And my wife, she's seen a lot of movies too. Like she's the one who turned me on to the one with the guy who played Al Bundy. I can't think of his name now. I think Paul O'Neill is what his name is. But he had one he did called Dutch. I've never seen this movie ever, but she had showed it to me. It was the greatest thing ever I've seen. I'm like, this is so awesome. Because it's 100% his personality, though. Like you could tell it's really him. And he kind of shines a little the Al Bundy kind of thing too. Like he's not playing Al Bundy, but you could see the traits. What does that one say?
Follow your heart. Follow your heart.
Right. Mine says C4. By the way, the best C4 flavor, in case y'all haven't had it, Hawaiian Punch, hands down. Don't care what anybody says.
I'm not much of a C4 person.
I like it because it doesn't really affect me. I know I'm not supposed to have a lot of caffeine because of my anxiety, but it doesn't really affect me at all, and things like that. And when I need to pick me up, it's usually the one I go with because I've tried a lot of them. I was doing Celsius for a while, and then Celsius gave me a real bad reaction. I had a panic attack drinking them before, so I stayed away from them. I've dappered in Redline, which I should record myself one time when I take it. You will all see an interesting side of me because I just go, and it's different with it. You feel it go up and then you feel it come down very slowly, and it's not like a sudden drop. So yeah, I have to be careful with some of the other ones because I'm diabetic as well. So some of the sugary stuff I can't have. And my wife, I think, put it best like it's kind of like drug people that abuse drugs are hiding them from people. I do that sometimes with sugar and stuff. She made this comment the other day and I'd never even thought of it that way. She's like, you're hiding it like drugs. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't think about it that way. She's like, yeah, you're hiding it like
they see what it is.
Well, you got to think about it. I'm not supposed to have it.
Right.
But it's a big stigma too. that diabetes is only because of sugar. No, it's carbs play factor. Like I have to do a balancing act on a daily basis. People don't even realize. And my poor wife over there uh works all day, comes home and cooks, and then still has to think of something on how to make it so it's not affecting my sugar levels and things like that too. So it's a constant battling of up and down. And I watched my uncle struggle with it for so long, and it was rough. It's rough. Every day that he passed away comes up, it's a rough day for me because he and I were so close. Like he was my best friend when I was a kid. I go over his house. He had all this cool shit. Like he was a hoarder. Like this guy was hoarding things. Like I don't care what anyone says, but this man had a massive collection beyond belief of just NASCAR and stuff like that. But that's where my love of sports come from because he was a big sports guy. And we go over there and we see all the cool stuff he had. And then his wife, which is my godmother, and I was telling my wife this story last night. She had sewn me together a Ninja Turtles outfit when I was a kid, man, and it was the greatest thing ever. Like I'm talking full on shell and everything on this thing. I'll see if I can find a picture of it though, of me and her. And she dealt with my mom, and she hated my mom. She couldn't stand her. And my dad was telling me the story. He's like, "Yeah, she hated your mom. Like she despised her." I was like, "Oh." And for this woman to sit there and do that, I was like, and I think when she passes, it's gonna be a rough time for me because she's been a part of my life majorly, and I try to touch in with her as much as I can, but I think she's slowly deteriorating, and you can tell. But her health has never been great ever. They've always been
Right,
very
right.
large people. And when my uncle got sick, his diabetes got really bad. Like you could see he shrunk. Like he went from like the best comparison of what he looked like is if you've seen Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Heifer was the size of him. He was that kind of big. Give you an idea what we're looking at here for a guy, And every time I seen him as a kid, he kind of reminded you of Heifer or the boss of the comic book store a little bit. I can't think of what his name was off my head, but Rocco's boss at the comic store, Philbert eventually goes and works. He looked like that big. And then when we seen him recently, like a few years past, and when he was getting really bad, he was just. And I was like, whoa, something's not right. Is he okay? They said, yeah, he lost a lot of weight and stuff like that. And his health's deteriorating. And it was like, whoa. And I was still really young when it happened too. And it was like, I was in my teen years, almost 20s, I believe is when we lost him. But it was rough because he's been a big part of my
Absolutely.
life. We seen him all the time. I hung out with him all the time. We spend weekends at his house and he'd do all these different things just for us. And like, oh man, we're way back, man. We go way back when Welch's was in those little jars with we're back the dinosaur character stories, when I remember
Oh
meeting
yeah,
when he
yeah,
was
yeah.
there. He used to make, do all the dinosaur noises for us when we were kids and stuff like that. Because he knew we were like, we didn't really spend a lot of time in his house and stuff like that. And he was like, he always tried to make you feel comfortable. And then he'd take you in the basement and like, you think you're walking into Toys R Us, the way this man has all these boxes stacked up, and he'd give you something out of his collection. And he had like the little, I try to think what they're called now. I think starting line was the thing with the little figures with like the little football players and stuff. Because he gave my brother a Reggie White one, and my brother's a huge Packers fan. So, and stuff like that. But it's gonna be rough, man. It's gonna be that's gonna be a rough time. Like I said, when I lose her, it's gonna be rough. It really is. Because she had such a big part in my life and things like that. And it's hard to watch her deteriorate. And then I watched my grandmother, she suffered from dementia and she just forgot who everybody was completely. Like I have the memory book, and I believe it's in the case over to my left. That's where I have it, or I have it somewhere around here. I have a book of just all these pictures of everybody when we were younger and things like that to remind people what it was. And it's hard to watch, man. And shout out to Tanis from Lives Lost, man, because he's dealing with some shit right now too, man. Him and I've grown a little closer. We've been talking a bit, and he ended up telling me that he's having some issues too. His grandmother, I believe, is dealing with dementia right now, and it's rough. That poor guy. He's living his rock star dream, and at the same time, he's trying to deal with all that at the same time. And then I know he said something's wrong with his grandfather. I think he said he was having heart issues or something like that. So that poor guy, dude, on the road doing all them different shows and things like that, and that's weighing on the back of his mind too, and things like that. But me and him are
Right,
going to sit down
right.
eventually. But you know what I'm saying, man? It's just crazy. But so you reconsidering the podcast now? I think you should reconsider because honestly, man, the things that you're saying will resonate well with people. It's a lot of work. I'll tell you that though, getting started, but once you get going, it's a little different. Now that I have a little more structure going on, it's a hell of a lot easier for me. Like I was telling you a little bit about my calendar. I switched an automatic calendar where people can book it. And officially I'm booked up to May now, everybody, in case you want to be on the show. If you put a spot in there, let me know. I'll put you on a separate list that'll say if somebody cancels, like Shaun did. He jumped in for me because my person had to cancel, unfortunately. She's dealing with migraines. Bree, shout out to you, girl. I'm sorry. I hope you're feeling better. But yeah, things like that, man. So I think you should do it, honestly. I think you're gonna find it
Yeah,
as rewarding as you think it's gonna be.
I definitely think once I get my foot all the way in, it's almost like cold water. You know, you just gotta kind of just jump right in. If you keep going to tippy toe into cold water, you're not gonna get nowhere in life.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, Sean originally actually was supposed to be on the show the 30th. We'll probably have him come back just because I like having returning guests. Why not, right? And we'll see if we can get somebody else to come with them, getting some other people and then come share their stories too. I think we should plan that. I think we should have some other people come with us on the 30th. Have a big celebration. We'll call it the end of the year celebration,
I
basically.
like that. I like that idea.
So we'll have to send the message out to everybody. Anybody watching right now, if you want to be on the show the 30th, let me know. I can have up to 10 people in here. I'll figure out how to go. We'll do it like Hollywood Stars or the Brady Bunch kind of boxes around the room. I'll figure it out. It don't matter. I'll figure out the
And then,
logistics
and
of this
then,
thing.
honestly, that could be like one of your longer lives. Like we could talk about
We could be on
the
this thing
major.
longer on. Actually, I'll be honest with you. We could be on here as long as we need to be honestly, because there's nobody after me. Because Oracle and I have talked about it. They were like, "Listen, if there's nothing after you, you don't really." But when it comes down to eventually, it'll be a 55-minute show. But as of right now, I'm pretty much free range, and that's why I had the ability to add the 3 o'clock shows because there's nothing really on this day for production. It's just a bunch of rerun episodes and things like that. And then Tom told me, he's like, "Okay, man, if you got something, fill it." He's like, "That's what it's there for." I'm like, "All right, sweet, why not?" And shout out to
Yeah,
Tom,
because
man. He's such a cool guy. Like Tom, I don't think you know how much I appreciate this whole thing, man. Like, this opportunity and things like this have been great. It's fun to do these every week, and I get to meet new people every week. And I had somebody come up to me the other day and say that they said thank you for what you're doing. It's helping people, and it touches guys. It really does. I would cry in this camera, but I might one of these times. Almost did actually. When I was hearing some of the stories last week, when Bree was telling her story about, she's like, "I've never told anybody this." I was like, I felt that. I felt that. I think you should do it though, man. I think you should go for it. Oh,
yeah,
I'll help you
you
plan it. Don't
know,
worry. I got you. I'll help you out.
I appreciate it.
See, you could be sitting right here on the network too. I know they're looking for video game
Right
shows. I think you
here.
said true crime, things like that. See, look, I got it down a little bit. See, I got it, In case y'all know what we're talking about. Me and Sean, we're talking about the camera thing. Trying to remember how the camera looks when you're looking at it to make sure. Because there's
Then
like
it's like high
mirror
five.
image.
It's like nope, wrong one. It's like over here.
Like, I'm over here. Where you at? I'm over there. It's like you got to go like this, and you got to go the opposite direction. Like you got to think where you're looking at in the background is where your
It's
hands
like
going that way.
okay,
Right?
there we go. Everything's backwards.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's like mirror image though. But yeah, they pretty much told me I have pretty much leeway to just go as long as I need to because there's nobody after me scheduled yet because we're still a new network. And they're always looking for new things and things like that. I know like there's a video game. They said video games, and I reached out to these guys. What are they? The Super Retro Game Show or something like that. They're on Instagram. Well, I reached out to them. I was like, "Hey man, what do you guys think about this?" And see if they would think about joining with us because theirs is really cool too. The two guys that run it, God, dude, they talk about the craziest things ever. Like they were talking about the most expensive like Super Nintendo games, and I was like, okay. Okay, I could talk about games all day. Let's do this. What do we want to talk about? And somebody from one of these Facebook groups I was on was like, "Well, I'm going to talk about video games." I'm like, "Okay, so what are we going to talk about? Retro? We're going to talk about." Well, I don't play anything retro. I play anything new. I'm like, then how are you going to have a conversation about video games? How will let's talk about where it's come from? Like Nintendo to Sega, to the Super Nintendo to Sega Genesis to the battles right there with the two in there, and then add the Game Boy in there, and then you had the Nomad that came out for the Sega Genesis, so you can play your games as you go, and it's just
No,
it's funny,
definitely
man.
one thing we can always do on the 30th, because it's the end of the year, we can have, if we have multiple people, like,
We are.
hey, we can be like, hey, Sean, let's get into, the celebrities that passed away this year, and then we can all try to relate to it, everyone that, that,
That's an
I think
idea.
that'd
We
be
can do
really
that too.
cool.
I thought about doing like mental health Jeopardy. I got to work on all the things, but that was an idea I was working on too. Was mental
Do
health Jeopardy
do
and stuff
do
like that.
do 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 do
Exactly.
do
We're gonna have you do the noise. You'll be like, do do do
do do
do
do
do.
do do
Here's your
do.
host, Alex Trebek. You know what? I got a person
I
I
forgot
met.
again.
There's a guy I talked to that comes in where I work. He was like, I do voiceover work, so maybe I'll have to ask him about doing something like that for me and see if he can do the voiceover, like the announcer for Alex Trebek or whatever.
Right.
Oh my God, yeah. All right. Anyways, we got an idea going. In case y'all are watching, you want to be a part of that on the 30th, let me know. We'll come up with something idea. We'll come do something. I don't know what. We'll have to get together. Everybody come together, and we'll do that. We'll just start seeing how old we are. Close out the year the right way, and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, man,
Absolutely.
this has been great, man. Like I said, this is awesome. I'm telling you should do it though. I'm telling you right now, but you should go for it. It's fun. Like I said, this stuff's just so
But
great to do.
I'm gonna do my closing out real quick.
Do it.
So
Close it out
my
for us,
name is
brother. Close it big.
my name is Mr. Real 75. You can follow me on YouTube, Discord, Facebook. I'm on everything. I'm on everything right now. The only thing I'm not on right now is X or Instagram. I don't understand those two. I'm gonna stay away from those two.
Instagram's just Facebook, okay? It's just a little different. That's it. That's all right. I'm not on X either, man. I should be. I'm probably gonna get on that too. I've been thinking about it. It's like, man, maybe I should get on X and just see what's on there because I've never been on there really. Never wanted to
Yeah,
switch
if you
sides.
guys ever want to send me a follow on all of them, I greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to, eventually I do want to get a computer set up where I can go live on multiple platforms at once. Like I said, I really appreciate it.
Look, somebody said do it. Do it. I
Do
think
it.
I meant to
Do
say
it.
do it. He said do it. Just like that. Just like he wants you to do it, man. Come on, just
Do
do it.
it. Come on, man. Do it.
Oh my God, dude, we should do that too. We should see who can do impersonations of things like you would have found those spots because in
No,
something like that. Listen, Yoda. Yaguan, what are you doing? My name is Master Yoda. Things like that. What else is I can do? I'm trying to think. I gotta work on a couple others. I could used to do I used to be able to do the list with it too for that one too. But anyways.
He was.
I swear to God, the next person says Peter Griffin, I'm gonna throw punch him. I'm like, you know what? Stop it. All right, you're gonna bring up the page. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up this episode of Pete versus Anxiety. Like I said, the 30th, Mr. Real will be back again. We're going to plan something. I don't know what. We'll figure it out. I always do. You know where to find me as usual, Pete versus Anxiety Pod on my Instagram. You can email me at Pete versus Anxiety Pod at gmail.com. If you want to be on the show, I'll shoot back my link for the calendar. I think we're into May, but also let me know when you do that you want to be on the list of if somebody cancels, you could be right in that seat over there. The opposite way. There you go. See? You could be in that one. This is so weird. I'm trying to do this backwards. I'm also at Pete versus Anxiety on Instagram, and it's Pete _ versus _ double N XIETY. And then before you grammar Nazis come after me, I did it just because I wanted to drive you nuts. Okay, just so you know. I'm trying to think where else I'm at. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Pete versus Anxiety, usually where I post a lot of stuff. I've been slacking lately, but I'm going to get on track with that finally. Like I said, if y'all want to donate to my Pete versus Anxiety. Oh, look, someone says he might join. Walter says he might join the 30th. Walter, you're more than welcome to join us. You let me know, brother, okay? Look, if you want to sit there and insult him the whole time, you go right ahead, okay? It'll be fair
Honestly,
game.
hey Walter, if you get a minute, I would love to talk to you about, possibly having you want to be one of my first guests on podcast because you have a one hell
He
of
is
a story.
planning literally live on this show, guys. You see what he's doing? He is networking right here on this show.
All
And
right,
Sean said
so
I inspired him to do it too, by the way. I'm going to take credit
so to
there.
give everyone a little history about Walter, Walter is a openly gay man in America that has cerebral palsy and he's wheelchair bound. He's been through a lot in his life, and I would love to hear his story in full.
Walter, I think you should do it, man. You should come on the show too, buddy. I definitely do. I'm more than welcome to host you on here, man. Justin, okay, I gotta share this one really quick. This made me laugh, my man. You just
Those are my two homies right there.
Justin, we're trying to close this thing out, man. Behave yourself, damn it, okay? This guy right here is like, what the hell?
I can't do this no more. I can't do it no more. I will be going live as soon as this is over. So just so everybody knows.
Oh my God, Jesus Almighty, everybody! But
Close
anyways,
close it out.
We're closing it out. I promise. All right. Well, you know where to find me, guys. If you want to donate to my podcast prevention, if you text below, you'll see the text below says text podcast to the number below. Look for my name on there. You'll see my picture there. right there and everything like that. If you donate $1 matters. It doesn't care, guys. Dollar, whatever you got, doesn't matter. Share the message, share the word. But anyways, guys, this has been great. Shaun, it's great having you again. Like I said, the 30th, he'll be back again. If you guys enjoyed him so much this time, come back the 30th. We'll be here again. If you want to be on the show the 30th, email me. You know where to find me. And as always, guys, they cost nothing to be kind to somebody. Anything and anything you can do could make somebody's day or even save their life. This is Pete from Pete for Anxiety signing out, guys. Y'all have yourself a great one. Shaun, thank you again.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.